Buenos dias. Oh, nice. We already speak Spanish. We're done. Thank you. Great. I'm Trish Feaster, and I was a high school Spanish teacher for 15 years in California. And I used to take my students to Europe every summer, and that led me to a second career in which I now lead tours for Rick Steves as well as do guidebook research. And so my language skills have enabled me to go all over Europe and travel in South America, Central America, and I want to be able to share that with you. Now, that said, we're not aiming for perfection today, right? This is not super comprehensive. You're not going to learn everything that you need to know for when you travel, but I want to make you feel comfortable traveling so that you can pick up on things, you can communicate as best as you can understand things, read signs, because the more engaged you are with the culture, the more that you allow yourself to be open to the people, the more the doors are going to open for you, and you're going to have that much of a richer experience. So let's get started. Now, you already know some Spanish. You may already know some basic food words. A lot of us know those. But there might be more that you didn't realize you know. So let's go over a couple of these things. I'm going to give you a list, and what I'm going to have some of you do is just say those words. I'll point to them, you say it, and I promise you it's going to be something that's going to be at least quasi-familiar. So why don't you give me this one? Colorado, right? Our state, our beautiful state of Colorado, red-colored. That's what that comes from, okay? How about this? Las Vegas, yay for Las Vegas. Now, it might be known for its gambling and some other fun things that people do there, but really, this is called the Meadows. We're getting that from Spanish. This one, who doesn't know this? Taco, yes. Best food ever invented, arguably, but I think it's true. And then how about this one? Mosquito. How many of you have had encounters with mosquitoes? All of us. So this actually comes from the word mosca, which means fly, and this means little fly. It's a nice logical jump to that word. And then how about this one? Plaza. There you go. And how about this one? Maybe you might have this at your house. Patio, patio. And how about this here? Embarcadero, from the word barca, barco, boat, dock, boating place, where you dock. How about this one? Cilantro. Now that's the Spanish word that we use for it, but there is the English word. Do you guys know what else we call that? Coriander. Yeah, coriander. But we'll call it cilantro, and you'll see that in a lot of Mexican food dishes. And how about this one? Salsa. Now that can be one of two things. What might that be? The dancing, salsa. Who of you can salsa? Oh, yeah. Hey, we might have you volunteer a little bit later, un poquito. Or what's the other thing? Sauce, right? It's just the basic word for sauce. You might think of a particular salsa, a hot salsa, a tomatoey salsa, but any sauce is a salsa. How about this one here? Incomunicado. And what might that be? You can break this down. In generally means not or no, and then not communicating, out of communication, right? You're on radio silence. I'm going to be incommunicado for the next 10 days because I'm going to Spain. And how about this one? Chocolate, and in Spanish we'll pronounce that chocolate, chocolate, which is actually not a Spanish word. We took this from the Aztecs, and the word was chocolatl, chocolatl, and we made that into a Spanish word, chocolate, and that has spread all over, thank goodness. How about this one here? Armada, and what is that? That's a fleet, right. And then how about this one here? Macho. We have embraced that notion, or at least the notion has come into a lot of popular culture, this sense of machismo, of being very manly. And then how about this one here? Fiesta, and what's that? Celebration, party. And this one some of you might know from the song. How about this? Can you tell me what this is? Que será, será. What will be, or whatever will be, will be. And how about this one here? Can you pronounce that? Aficionado, somebody who is very skilled at that, or they're very into that kind of thing, from the verb aficionar. And how about this one? If anybody's been to New York, you know exactly what this is. Can somebody pronounce that for me? Can you try it? Bodega. And that's just a little market. Okay, so in New York, you'll see those all over the place, usually family run. And how about this one? Anybody? How about, can you try? Okay, very good. Embargo, and it's the same as we use it in English, right? It's a block so that you can't get stuff through, you can't sell stuff, you can't physically take anything through. And this one is a very common expression. Let's take this in the back. mano a mano, literally hand to hand. You can talk about that in terms of combat, but even if you're just engaging with somebody, right? We're gonna talk about this mano a mano. It's kind of a weird metaphor to put together, but it works, right? It's just you and you, face to face, one person and another. And how about this one? Let's go back here. Cafeteria, there we go. And just like it looks, this has the word café in it. So it's a place typically where you would get coffee, but in our case, when we talk about it, it also is a place where you would get food, so cafeteria. And then how about this one? There we go. Flotilla, flotilla, or flotilla, how we would pronounce it in Spanish, and it's the same kind of thing. It's a floating fleet, okay? So you already might have encountered these in your English language use, and we've absorbed them into English language, even though they originate from Spanish. Now, the thing about Spanish is that it's much easier than you might realize. And part of it is because the vowel sounds never change. They always stay the same. So I want you to practice these with me, and you can just repeat the pronunciation. So we've got a, e, I, o, u. Now, when you do that, I want you to think really nice open sounds. Think of the Spaniards and how gregarious they might be, and everything's kind of joyful and robust. Make your vowel sounds that way, even when we get to this, okay? So here we go again. A, e, I, o, u. Very good. They're always going to be like that, even if you combine them with other vowel sounds. All you do is you just blend them together, okay? So check this out here. Like we have A, E, we just put those together, and you have I, okay? And you repeat after me. I, ao, ow. Same exact thing. You're just putting them together. And here we have ea, a, eo, eu, eu. There you go. And try this. Ya, ye, yo, you. Excellent. A few more to go. Oa, oe, oi, o. Wa, we, we, wo. Whoa, very good. Now, it's the English vowel sounds that can be tricky, right? I just do this as a comparison because, again, Spanish is much easier than you think. You have the skill set within you because you've already done harder stuff. You've already done the English. And when we have things like sour, pour, pout. Okay, so we have the same vowel sounds going on, or the same letters anyways, but it changes. Sour, pour, pout. Interesting. How about this one? Can you say these for me?
Slight, height, weight.
Uh-huh. And let's do one more. Can you help me out with this one?
Hat.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, what? So, again, we'll make it easy on ourselves and we'll stick with Spanish. So we'll go through this entire alphabet because we need to know how all of these letters sound, right? So we can put them together and make really great sounding words. So repeat after me. A. B. Now this one, I'm going to mention to you a little bit later. We're going to have another letter that's going to sound the exact same, but it is this hard B sound. B. B. Nice. Se. Now this one here, I put in parentheses. How many of you are planning to travel to a Spanish-speaking country, let's say in the next 20 years or so? Anybody? Good. Are any of you planning on going to Spain? Okay, so those of you who are going to Spain, you're going to hear this a little bit differently. You don't have to say it differently. You can just do it as se. This is the easiest. But if you want to pick up the kind of Castilian way of doing things or the Spanish way of doing things, you make it sound a little bit like a lisp, and you pronounce it fe. Fe. Okay, so that would be A, B, fe. If you want to. If you choose se, I'm totally fine with that. And then this actually is considered a letter, okay, both of these together. So we have che, de, e, efe. Nice. And we have G, which is je. Nice, you guys. You've got that guttural sound going on. You want to make that hakalugi noise in the back of your throat, and that's not going to be the only one that we do, so save that loogie for later. H. I. Here it comes. Jota. Nice. And how about ka? We have L. Now we have a double L, and that's eye. M. N. Enye. O. Can you make that a little bit more round, more full? O. Yeah, just fill yourself up with air when you do that. P. Q. R. R. Now, that actually does have a trill on it, okay? So you make that little flutter sound with the R. You're just pressing air through. That's all that you're needing to do. If you cannot do it, it doesn't matter. It totally doesn't matter. Just do the best that you can. If you just say R, great, wonderful. But then we do have the double R. So then you got to try for even more R's. R. Nice, that was good. S. T. U. B. Our tendency with this letter is to pronounce it as we do in English with the V for Victor sound, but it is actually that B sound, so B. And is the same as this, B. Now there's a trick that we have in Spanish, and do you guys know the word burro? Burro, that's a donkey. And there's the word vaca, vaca. Do you know what that is? It's a cow, okay? So for Spanish people, when you want to clarify, because I can't hear the difference, be or be, and we'll say be de burro or be de vaca. Do you mean B for burro or V for cow, vaca? So that again, B and V sound is the same. And we have it one more time because we've got doble B, which is literally double V. Now we say W, but doesn't it make sense though? Look it, it's actually shaped that way, so sure, why not? Double V. And then we've got X. If you have two of them, what is that? Hey, you just ordered beer, good for you. And then we have Y. Now there's a beautiful logic to this because we have this sound already, E, which was here, E, I took off the H. And then this word here, griega, griega, what does that sound like to you? If it sounds like it could be an English word, griega, Greek. This is the Greek letter I, okay? Upsilon. And we have finally zeta. Or if you're in Spain, you're going to do that lisping sound thing, so it'll be theta. Your choice, entirely up to you. Ojo, this is your ojo. So this is actually a visual symbol that we do when we're in Spain, ojo. Ojo. Watch out because there are some weird things that happen with our consonants. So a C can be a hard C like in cat. So we have here, for example, repeat, cama, coche. But if it precedes an E or an I, then we're going to have this thing going on. We're going to have that th sound going on like we're in Spain, or we're going to have an S sound like we're in Latin America. And we can say cielo, or centro. That was the Latin American version or the generic version. And then if we do it the Spanish way, that would be cielo, centro. Good. And for a D, it's a soft D, like in ladder. I don't think any of you says ladder, right? You don't force that D. We keep it a little bit soft, and what happens is that you're going to take the tip of your tongue and pull it back. Okay, that's physically what happens when you're saying this type of letter, ladder, ladder. You pull it back. So here we've got via, via. Put your tongue right behind your teeth, your front teeth, and then as you say dia, pull it back. Via, via. Nice. And how about adios? Adios. Excellent. Now a G can be a hard G, like in go. And here we have gafas, or guapo. Raise your hand if you're guapo, please. Everybody should be raising their hand, not just the gentlemen. And all gentlemen, first of all, raise your hand. You're guapo, you're good looking. Now the thing is that this also is, you can use this for women. Now if we're talking about ourselves, women, we would say we are guapa. But we're not so bold as to talk about ourselves that way. So gentlemen, tell the ladies that they're guapa. There you go, you are all guapa, guapas. If you have a G before an E or an I, however, we're going to have that guttural H sound again. Here it comes. So here we have gimnasio. And gente. Okay, so gymnasium and people. Still some more. H is always going to be silent, so just don't even bother pronouncing it. Hotel. 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 Hielo. 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 And yellow is ice. Okay. J is also guttural, but this is going to be an H sound, guttural H sound. We have jabón. Jabón. Jabón, not to be confused with jamón. Jamón. Have you ever heard of either of those two words? Do you want to eat jabón or do you want to eat jamón? Jamón. Jamón. There you go, because this is a bar of soap. And here we have juego. Juego. Now the double L, we have that y sound. So in Spain, we're going to have that y like in yes. But if you're traveling through Latin America, because there were so many different immigrants that were coming from a lot of different regions throughout Europe, and because of just of the development of the language, we have two possible sounds. We have a J sound, a hard J, or we have a j sound that can happen. This is more in Southern America here. So we can say this, pretend that we're in Spain, we'll say lluvia. Lluvia. Valle. 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 Now, if we are in, let's say, Mexico, we might say lluvia. Lluvia. Valle. Valle. And if we were in South America, we might say lluvia. Lluvia. Sorry, that was me. Lluvia. Valle. Valle. So it more or less sounds the same. It's just slightly different. We have those kind of distinctions like we do in the United States anyways, don't we? If you go to the South, if you're in Texas, that's going to sound quite different than if you're listening to somebody from New York. The words are generally the same, but maybe the pronunciation, the tempo, the intonation is a little bit different, but you're going to be able to get by. Okay, so feel confident with that. The ñ is like a ñ in onion. So here we've got niño. And piña. If you like piña coladas and getting caught in the rain, anybody? Oh, come on, there's like 3 of you who know that. Come on. Okay, a little bit more ojo. Here we go. The R, that's trilled. It's super trilled. Go with it. Again, if you can't do it, it doesn't matter. But let's try it anyways. Toro. Toro. Sierra. Sierra. And when it is the double R, that means that you just trill it even more. Okay? The V again is like a B as in boy, so we've got vale, vista. And a Z, again, we have this Spain lisping type of thing, so you can make it like TH in think, or as an S in sink if you're in Latin America. And so let's do it the Spanish way. Zapatos. 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 Arroz. 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 Okay, with the TH sound. Now let's pretend we're in Latin America, and we'll just do it as a straight Z sound. So, zapatos. Zapatos. Arroz. Arroz. Very good. Now, accented letters. This is important for a number of reasons. I will tell you that accented letters are always going to be vowels. You don't have to worry about your consonants at all. We've only got to worry about A, E, I, O, and U. And the reason why we have them, we're going to break it down just into 3 basic reasons, okay? So it's going to tell you which syllable to stress. In a multisyllabic word, which one should you be stressing? And it's telling you this one, hey, here. So try this after me. Lápiz. Lápiz. Último. Último. Versus lápiz or último or último, something like that, okay? It's telling you where should you put that. Inglés. Inglés. Instead of inglés. Teléfono. Teléfono. Instead of something like teléfono or teléfono. It can also strengthen what we call a weak vowel. I and U are weak vowels. They always need some help. So it can strengthen a weak vowel, and it can emphasize that syllable. So here we have tranvía. 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 Vía. Vía. Grúa. Grúa. Sangría. Sangría. Say that with a smile. Sangría. Nice. And then the third thing is that it can actually change the meaning of the word, okay? So when you're saying the word, it's going to sound like some other word, right? It's a homonym. We have those in English too. But we can change the meaning, so when you see it written, or if you're writing it out or somebody's writing out for you, you want to make sure that you are talking about the same thing, or you're in alignment with the same thing. So here are some examples. The pronunciation does not change. Tú, tú. Try those. Me, me. Me, me. Si, si. Si, si. This one will change a little bit because we're going to stress a different syllable. Papa. 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 Okay, so those last two are the same. Now let's look at what these things mean. Tú with an accent is you, hey you, or it's your things, your friend, your mom. Me can be me, give that to me please, or my, don't take my stuff. Sí is yes, I agree, or it can mean if we get to the train by 10 o'clock, we'll make it to Andalusia. And then here we have a really strange change. So if we have the accent, papa is dad. Okay, instead of calling him padre, we'll call him papa. If you call him papa, you're calling him a potato. Maybe that's a fun nickname in your family, I don't know. And then if you capitalize his name, you're then referring to him as the Pope, which is a bit much, I would say. So refrain from that unless you're talking directly about Pope Francis. So papa, papa, and papa. So the importance of accents there. Now, cognates. This is a great one for us because a lot of what we can learn about a language comes from the things that we already know, right? We can make those correlations. And cognates make it super easy because they are words that are spelled similarly from one language to another language, and they have the same meaning, right? So you can look at a word and you can go, oh, I guess it probably means this. And you can figure out a lot of stuff without having to look it up in the dictionary. You can just work your way around that. So try these with me. Teléfono. Teléfono. Vocabulario. Vocabulario. Orgánico. Orgánico. Correcto. Correcto. And you know these, so give them to me, please.
Vocabulary.
Oops, sorry, organic. Good, you got them. But you have to watch out for what we call false cognates. They might look like something you know in English, but maybe there's a kind of strange mistranslation, and you just have to be aware of those. They're fun to learn because you can put your foot in your mouth all day and people are just like laughing at you, and you just have fun with it. So we have these words here. Éxito. Éxito. Sopa. Sopa. Pie. Pie. Embarazada. 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 Okay, so without looking at what the answers are, if you were strictly just to look at these and assume that they were a certain word, what would you think that this means? Exit. It looks like exit. And what do you think that this one looks like? Soap. Okay, and what do you think this one looks like? Pie. And how about this one? What do you think that looks like? Embarrassed. Okay, those are all really logical words to choose. But this is what they mean. Éxito is success. Sopa is soup. Pie is your foot. Don't eat that. And embarazada means that you're pregnant. So gentlemen, be careful with this one. Now, let's go into greetings. Let's talk with some people. Obviously, one of the first things that you're going to say is hello, and you might already know this. Hola. Hola. Remember that that H is silent, okay? So it's not hola, but hola. Hola. Hello, if you're answering the phone, is going to be diga, or bueno. Now, I say when you're answering the phone, but typically it's going to be you calling the hotel or you trying to get a hold of a merchant or something like that. So you're going to hear that. Now, one little note. Diga is really only said in Spain, whereas bueno is said pretty much everywhere else. Okay? Goodbye, you will say adios. 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 And again, we have that written accent to tell us where to put the emphasis. So not adios, but adios. Adios. Literally, to God. Bye, you can say ciao. Ciao. And that is a stolen word. We took that from the Italians and then we spelled it the Spanish way. So instead of C-I-A-O, we spell it C-H-A-O. But same pronunciation. Ciao. Ciao. Now, being very formal, let's say you go down from your room at the hotel and you greet the staff there. Good morning, good day. And you're going to say buenos dias. Buenos dias. And in the afternoon, you're coming back from some of your sightseeing. You'll say to them, buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Now, the thing about buenas tardes is it's kind of a flexible time period, okay? So literally, good afternoon, you can start that from 12:01, basically. Until when do you say it? It depends on where you are in the country, if it's a very provincial kind of place, if it's a metropolitan kind of place. So you just go with whatever the locals are saying. If you say buenas tardes and it's already they're wanting to say buenas noches, then you switch into buenas noches. That's all. Good evening or good night is that, as we just said, buenas noches. Buenas noches. Very good. Now, some more pleasantries. In addition to greeting that person, it is best if you are a little bit more formal, okay? So good day, sir, good day, ma'am. And to say Mr. or sir, we're going to say señor. Señor. Mrs. or ma'am, we will say señora. Señora. That's just the feminine form of señor. And then if it's a miss, meaning somebody who looks to be of an age where they're maybe in their 20s still and not yet married, so unmarried woman, this will call her a señorita. Señorita. Mm-hmm. How are you? ¿Cómo está usted? ¿Cómo está usted? Now, this is a great opportunity for us to talk about formal and familiar. In a lot of our Latin-based languages, we have a different sense of addressing people. So there's a formal way that you would speak to, let's say, your teacher, police officer, a clerk who's helping you, somebody that you don't know, and certainly somebody who is older than you, okay? We will use this form, the usted form, that's you formal. There is a familiar form that's not going to be the focus of our class today, but be aware that there are two different forms. Your best bet as a traveler is to stick with the formal in any case. Fine, thanks, and you. Bien, gracias, y usted? Bien, gracias, y usted? Now, look at this. I abbreviated that because that's what most Spanish-speaking people do. Rather than write out this entire word, why not just abbreviate it? And it's a nice opportunity for us to remember where this comes from. So if we look at this, and remember how we had the U, V, W, double V thing going on? So this actually used to be a V, and it used to be V, D, period. And it came from, this whole expression came from the expression vuestra merced, which means your grace. So we talked about that formal form, right? And how are you, your grace? Thank you so much. But that's where that's coming from. So language isn't strictly about a translation from this to that, or this is the exact word that we say. There's a rationale behind it. And when you can dig deeper into that, it makes the language that much more colorful and that much more fun. So if you can find those golden nuggets when you're learning language, it'll be fun for you. Now, this is a familiar way of saying this. In case you do get to know somebody very well, or even amongst your traveling companions, you might want to say, how's it going? ¿Cómo va? ¿Cómo va? ¿Cómo va? Literally, how is it going? How does it go? And you can answer truthfully or not, up to you. It's going very well, it's going very bad. So we can say this, todo va bien. Todo va bien. Todo va muy bien. Todo va muy bien. Todo va mal. Todo va muy mal. Todo va muy mal. But to be honest, nobody wants you to be that honest. You can just tell them you're fine. Now, the quick and easies, yes and no. Sí, no. Sí, no. Now be careful here. When you're doing no, I don't want you to say it like you're from the United States. It's not no. It's not a 5-syllable no, right? It's no. No. Sí, no. Sí, no. Perfect. Keep it short. Please. Por favor. Por favor. Now, I love this word too because it can be, like with anything, you can change the intonation, right? You can just say it very kindly, por favor, da 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 da. But if you're exasperated with something, I love hearing the Spaniards do this, por favor. You know, you just get a little bit dramatic, so allow yourself that when you need to. Thank you, or thank you very much. We know gracias. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Now again, if we were in Spain, this C would have that sound going on. So let's try that just for fun. Gracias. 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 It's weird because you do a TH here, but then this is still going to be the S sound. So that gets tricky. But again, I want you to just be able to recognize and hear that. And so then this one would just be the hard ch sound. So muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Excellent. You're welcome. De nada. Literally, it's nothing. Don't even worry about it. It's nothing. I'm sorry. This, if you really are truly apologetic about something, maybe you stepped on somebody's toe when you were getting onto the bus, or you cut in line in front of somebody, you didn't realize that, and you want to apologize. So here we're going to say, lo siento. Lo siento. Lo siento. Lo siento. Literally, I feel it. I regret it, I feel it, it's painful to me that I did this, I'm so sorry. But if you just want to interrupt somebody, you need the attention of the hotelier or you need the attention of the merchant at the shop and you need to interrupt the conversation, excuse me, you can just say, perdón, perdón, perdón. But if you want excuse me to get by, okay, it's very crowded on the street and you need to get over there, I need to get by please, you're kind of just standing there, you can say con permiso. Con permiso. Con permiso. Con permiso. With your permission, may I pass? Okay, so you don't need to say the whole sentence, but just that part, con permiso, and everybody understands. Except, of course, when they say, I don't understand. And that you would hear them say, no entiendo. No entiendo. You might have heard no comprendo. That's another way, I don't comprehend, but this is actually more common, no entiendo. No entiendo. If you want to try to keep engaging in the language, okay, if you don't want to default back into your English speaking skills, but you just need them to slow down a little bit, I can probably understand if you speak a little bit slower, you can ask them kindly and you can say, despacio por favor. Despacio por favor. And even if that's too much, tell them to slow down once more, más despacio por favor. Más despacio por favor. And people will usually accommodate you in that way. If at that point it's still just too much, go ahead and ask them, do you speak English? And here we'll say, habla usted inglés, por favor. Habla usted inglés, por favor. Now, I hesitate to put this one up here, not because I don't want you to speak English, but because it's not the first thing that I want you to jump to. I mean, you're here. You're bold enough to come and take the class, so you want to engage in the language. But remember that in any culture, engage in their language first. Show that sign of respect for their language, for their culture, for the person themselves, and then work your way down. Greet the person, hello, sir. Excuse me, do you speak English? This should be at the very least the third thing down the list that you say. Never the first, never the second, okay? Now, if something is of good or bad quality, maybe the food, maybe the show that you watched, bueno. Or malo. Malo. Now, it's in terms of how something was done. How well did he fix the car for you? He did it very well, or he did it poorly, he did it bad. You could say bien, bien. Mal. Mal. Okay, meaning, okay, everything's fine, good. You can say está bien. Está bien. Literally, it is well. Está bien. In Spain, we're going to say vale. 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 Try that again with a soft B sound, vale. Vale. You're going to hear that word all the time. It's also a filler word. Okay, so in conversation, they might not be going, okay, 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 but it is just a filler word that kind of pops in every once in a while. So be listening for that. And then if you want to say something is super, we get a cognate, super. Super. Nice. Now, as you're moving around and about as travelers, you're going to encounter some travel situation words. You might not necessarily use the words, but you want to be able to at least recognize them either visually or hearing them. So airport, we have el aeropuerto. El aeropuerto. Yeah, it's got a lot of syllables in there. Aeropuerto. Aeropuerto. Very good. Now, one little trick that you can do, if you're looking at a word and it seems to be just too much, that's a lot of letters, I can't figure out how to say all of those things, let's break it down backwards. This is a fun trick that I like to do. So we're just going to start from here. To. Puerto. Aeropuerto. Aeropuerto. And now you've got the whole word, aeropuerto. It's a good mind trick to do, okay? So Jedi mind tricks, learn them here. Very good. Flight. El vuelo. El vuelo. El vuelo. With that soft B sound. And arrival or departure, again, you might not necessarily say it, but you want to recognize those words when you see the signage. La llegada. La llegada. Or la salida. La salida. Train station. La estación de tren. La estación de tren. Super easy cognate, which is fantastic. But this is also a reminder to me, I've got this little squiggle, that any word in Spanish that's got C-I-O-N is probably coming from an English word that also has T-I-O-N. So you can convert almost any word from English that has T-I-O-N into a Spanish word that is C-I-O-N. So let's test that theory for a second. Can you give me the word for Nation. Nación. Nación. And how about education? Educación. Very good. Okay, so that's a nice little trick. Again, use what you already know to pick up more in the language. Bus station, we've got la estación de autobuses.
La estación de autobuses.
Very good. Subway station, la estación de metro.
La estación de metro.
And if you're going to pick one of those stops, right, you need to go 4 stops on the bus, or you're going to go 3 stops on the subway. Your subway stop or your bus stop is going to be la parada de bus.
La parada de bus.
La parada de metro.
La parada de metro.
Excellent. Now you need a ticket to get to do all of those fun things. So you need to get el billete, or el boleto. El boleto will mostly be used in Latin America. And then you want to make sure that you're getting to the right place. So make sure you get on the right platform. That's el andén. Again, that accent is telling you to stress that last syllable. The track is going to be la vía.
La vía.
La vía.
La vía.
And if you have your luggage with you, maybe it's stuff that you check, could be hand luggage. In general, luggage is just going to be el equipaje. Can you give me a little bit more of that guttural hakalugi sound going on? El equipaje.
El equipaje.
Nice. And if it's hand luggage, el equipaje de mano.
El equipaje de mano.
And the entrance, getting into any of those places, is la entrada.
La entrada.
And if you need to exit in a quick hurry, then you're going to look for la salida.
La salida.
Now still, we might need to know where to go from there. So where is this thing, or where are those things? We're going to say, ¿dónde está?
¿Dónde está?
Or if it's plural, ¿dónde están?
¿Dónde están?
Where is this? Where are those? Let's take the bathroom, for example. Very common phrase that you'll use, I'm sure, quite a bit. So, ¿dónde está el baño?
¿Dónde está el baño?
And maybe the elevator is out, so you need to take the stairs. So, ¿dónde están las escaleras?
¿Dónde están las escaleras?
Oh, they're to the right, a la derecha.
A la derecha.
Oh, I'm sorry, they're to the left now, a la izquierda.
A la izquierda.
Straight ahead is going to be derecho.
Derecho.
Now notice it's just one letter difference here. So it's up to you to listen carefully or have them physically write down the instructions for you. Because if you're hearing, if they're saying to you, a la derecha, da 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 da, but what you heard was derecho, you could keep going straight and you should have turned 4 blocks back that way, right? So just be careful that you're listening for that minor difference there. Street or way or avenue, we have calle,
Calle.
vía,
Vía.
avenida.
Avenida.
Excellent. Now, when you're out and about, you're going to need to use some currency. And of course, in Spain, we're on the euro because we're part of the European Union. So a euro, to pronounce that, you'll say un euro.
Un euro.
Un euro.
Un euro.
Nice. What if you needed 5 euros? Anybody know the word for 5 yet? 5 euros. You just add the S to pluralize it. 5 euros. You might want to go to the museum, el museo.
El museo.
Or a church, la iglesia.
La iglesia.
Now this word you already know too if you know one of 2 singers, Julio or Enrique, right? So let's talk about Julio for a second, the father. Julio Iglesias. What does his name mean? July Churches. His name is July Churches, okay? Restaurant, el restaurante.
El restaurante.
Excellent. Market is el mercado.
El mercado.
And you're going to find in a lot of places these days, all throughout Europe, and then particularly in Spain. If you go to Madrid, they're converting old industrial-aged warehouse-type places and then making them brand new foodie markets. So it's really great to check those things out. You want to look for those mercados. Laundromat, we all need that every now and again. La lavanderia.
La lavanderia.
And this is another note to myself that almost any word in Spanish that has this eria thing going on is telling you it's the shop, or it's the place where they do this thing, or it's the place where they make it, the place where they sell it. Okay, so lavanderia. Lavar is the word to wash, so it's the place where you wash stuff. Okay, if you know the word pan, pan means bread. So what would you guess a bread shop or a bakery would be? Panaderia. Very good. You got it. Panaderia. Now, if you need a guide, whether that be a human being or the audio guide, you might need el guía. That's if it's a male guide. If it's a female guide, she'd be la guía. And if you just need the audio guide, el audio guía. Information, you all know need to find that. Now, generally, you're going to find that symbol, right? It's just the lowercase I, and then you can spot that at the airport, even at a museum, wherever it is, you look for that. But if you're going to ask for information, you want la información. Well, we already knew that because we know the trick that almost any word that's T-I-O-N in English is going to be C-I-O-N in Spanish. Now, numbers. We got to count through this stuff. How many euros are you going to spend? How many tickets do you need to buy? If somebody gives you a phone number, you got to have these numbers. So let's just go through these together. You repeat after me. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez, once. Resist the urge to say once. Once, two separate syllables. Doce. Uy, let's try that D again. I'm hearing a hard D sound. Can you give me a soft D? Doce. Nice. Trece. Catorce. Quince. Dieciséis. Hey, we're going into math now. So this now just becomes 10 and 6. So like in English, how we have own separate words for 11, 12, then when we get to 13, all of these teens happen, okay? Essentially, this is what this is. It's 10 plus another number. 16, we have 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yay, let's play blackjack. We can now. So this is a combined word just like this is. We're just adding 20 and 1. That is literally 20, y uno, and 1. 22. Now we're just going to go by our tens. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. One minor change, right? So just be careful there. Now, while we saw 21, 22, and we combined those as one singular word, we changed that starting from the 30s. And here's one example. We're now going to separate out these words. They become the number, the tens place, and whatever digit you're adding after that. So 71 is going to be 71. So what would 42 be? 42. Excellent. 80. 85. 90. 100. Just like how we have 100 cents in a dollar, right? Or 100 years in a century, coming from the same origin. Now, if we pluralize the hundreds, if there's more than 100, then we're going to have to add a little bit more. So this becomes 500. Mil. Think of millennium. Okay, so let's try this one, because it is just adding math, right? Just piecing the things together. So you've got 6 in the thousands place, nothing in the hundreds, and then we've got 30 and 2. So let's try this together. Ready? 6,032. You got it. Now, when you're out and about again, you want to make sure that you know, okay, is it time to go to this place? Is it not time to go? Because we have that notion of siesta, don't we, when we're in Spain? When you have that time, basically when you take off for lunch and you're going to rest, the original notion was to get out of the heat of the day. And so you take this little break period. But that means that shops are closed in the middle of the day. You think, well, I have money to spend. Well, sorry, we're doing our cultural thing and we're taking our siesta right now. So is it abierto? Abierto. Or cerrado? Cerrado. What is this? What is that? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? And that thing over there, ¿qué es eso? Yeah, so the farther one is eso, the closer one is esto. What is this? What is that? And how much does it cost? I want that. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
¿Cuánto cuesta?
Is it free? Is it included? ¿Es gratis?
¿Es gratis?
No. Probably the answer is no. That's okay. Do you have? ¿Tiene?
Tiene.
And that could be anything. Do you have napkins? Do you have another size? Whatever it is. Or if you're referring to a thing, let's say you have an allergy, does it have whatever, salt? Tiene sal. Okay, you can just use that same exact word. Does it have? Do you have? I would like. Me gustaría.
Me gustaría.
Me gustaría.
Me gustaría.
A menu, and we're going to give you two options for this. You can either say el menú, which is very common, and you'll hear that, but also la carta.
La carta.
Both are interchangeable in essence, okay? So keep in mind that you might hear one or the other. A little bit or a little bit of is un poco, un poco de, whatever this or that thing is that you want. A lot or a lot of, mucho, mucho de, whatever it is that you want. And do you want more of it? Do you want less of it? Más, menos.
Más menos.
Más o menos.
Más o menos.
Also a very common response for how's it going? Más o menos. More or less, it's okay. I'd like some water. Un poco de agua.
Un poco de agua.
Mm-hmm. And if you want a carafe of water, then you can ask for una jarra de agua.
Una jarra de agua.
How about a glass of red or white wine? Now be careful here. Red, we're not going to say the color red. We're going to say it a little bit different. We're going to say una copa, so that's your glass or your cup, your goblet. Una copa de vino tinto. Una copa de vino tinto. Okay, so it's tinted a red color, even though it's just red. Or white wine. Una copa de vino blanco.
Una copa de vino blanco.
Or how about a glass of beer? Una caña.
Una caña.
Now that is particular to Spain, okay? And it's just a nice average size glass, nothing too big. Or if you just order generically una cerveza, you're gonna get that, okay? But again, una caña in Spain only will ask for that. It's the shortest way of saying a glass of beer. Now, coffee. I need coffee, you need coffee, you're traveling, you need that energy. There is a whole cafe culture that happens throughout Europe. And so in Spain, it's important to know the different ways of ordering coffee. Now, most Spaniards are going to order an espresso. And when they ask for that, they're going to ask for un café.
Un café.
We don't say un espresso. We don't do that. We'll just say un café. But you're thinking, wait, but coffee, that's what that is. It's a cognate. Can't I just have a coffee? That's all I want. So to get that, you're actually going to have to specify un café americano.
Un café americano.
And essentially what that is, it's an espresso with more water in it, okay? So it's cut with more water, you get a larger quantity. An espresso with lots of milk, essentially a latte. For that, you're gonna order un café con leche.
Un café con leche.
But here's what I like to have as a little pick-me-up, kind of midday. I just need a little bit of coffee. I don't want a ton, just something to get me through. And what I want is I want an espresso with just a splash of milk in it. And so what I'll ask for is un café cortado.
Un café cortado.
And that literally means cut. So it's coffee cut with milk. Now, decaffeinated coffee, pointless, really, in my book. But for those of you who need it, in case you do need that, maybe it's a little bit too late in the night, but you just want a little bit coffee flavor, but not the caffeine, we'll ask for whatever coffee type that you wanted. And then after that, descafeinado. Descafeinado. Okay, so un café cortado, descafeinado. So descafeinado comes at the end. And that's a reminder to us that in Spanish, most adjectives go after the noun anyways. Okay, so you put your adjective after the noun. With sugar, con azúcar.
Con azúcar.
Now, I put this here. Be aware that generally you're not going to get iced tea. Okay, ice is just not a common thing. And if you ask for it, you might get 1 or 2 cubes. So you can ask for a tea, or you can ask for a cold tea. They will have cans of iced tea, but not necessarily ice to be served with it. So you can ask for un té frío, a cold tea. Oh, but this is what you really must have, especially if you're in Spain. You need to have, I put a churro and hot chocolate, but you'll never have just one. That's ridiculous. You're going to have multiple. But to say a churro and hot chocolate, un churro y chocolate. Un churro y chocolate. Can be had at any time of day. Honestly, you can have it for breakfast. You can have it for merienda, which is your mid-morning snack. You can have it for lunch. You can have it for an afternoon snack. You can have it as a dessert thing after dinner. And then if you are out, as many Spaniards tend to do after they are at the clubs, that's what they're going to have, just to kind of cut all of that cerveza that they had earlier. So a Spanish omelet, another traditional dish, una tortilla española. Una tortilla española. And that essentially is a pan-made omelet that's about this thick, and it's got potatoes in it and onions. That too can be served and eaten at any time of the day. It can be served hot, cold, as part of a sandwich, or as part of your main meal. Cheers! Salud! Salud! Or we can say the noise that the glass makes when they hit together, chin chin. Chin chin. Enjoy your meal, buen provecho. Buen provecho. And then when you're done, you're going to ask for the bill, and this is a reminder that you do need to ask for the bill. Not like in the States where it just will automatically come to you. They want you to enjoy your meal. So ask for it. You can just raise your hand and say, por favor, la cuenta. La cuenta. And service is generally going to be included. That means that your wait staff is already receiving a living wage, and that the price of whatever it is that you're eating or drinking, a portion of that already goes to your wait staff. Okay, so if it says service included, technically you don't need to tip. And you would see on the receipt, servicio incluido. Servicio incluido. But it is nice to leave a little something. You might want to leave your coins that you have left over, maybe up to 5%. 10% is really pushing it. That's kind of a lot. And 20% is ridiculous. Don't go anywhere near that. What you want to do is you want to maintain cultural norms. Do as the locals do. Don't try to impose our norms on somebody else's culture. So if you're going to leave a small tip, you can leave una propina. Una propina. Now, things to listen for when you're in conversation, no, that's an easy one. So no is no or it's not. Okay, it's the negation for both. Normalmente. Normalmente. This is always the tricky word. Normally it's like this, which means that you're not getting the answer that you want. Normally we would be open, but not today. Normally this, but not right now. Todavía no. Todavía no. And that means not yet. Are you open? No, not yet. At 4 o'clock we'll be open. Ya no. Ya no. No longer. We're not doing that anymore here. We don't give away the audio guides for free. You need to pay €5 now. No lo sé. No lo sé. Or simply no sé. No sé. Which means I don't know. Okay, so that's probably the most honest answer you're going to get from anybody if you're asking the question, I don't know. Quizás. 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 And that means maybe. ¿Todo bien? Todo bien. A very common question you get when you're at a restaurant especially. ¿Todo bien? Is everything fine? How was it? Okay? And you can respond with bien is a sufficient answer. Muy bien, however you want to do that. Or if you're being super honest in a not so great case, muy mal. Now, a little bit more if you want to go really broaden your language skills. What's your name? You be adventurous. You ask somebody, what's your name? ¿Cómo se llama usted? ¿Cómo se llama usted? Literally, how do you call yourself? How do you call yourself? I call myself Antonio. I call myself Rebecca. My name is, or I call myself, me llamo. Me llamo. So-and-so, whoever you choose to be on that day. Pleased to meet you. Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. It's a lot of pleasure. It's a great pleasure to meet you. I'm American. Now, I want you guys to feel confident in saying this. This is something that you should say proudly. you are representing your country when you travel to any place else, right? You're bringing the best of what we are to other places. You're the one who wants to learn. You're the one who wants to engage in the culture. You're the one who wants to broaden your horizons. So be proud of that fact and tell people that you're American, and you'll say, soy estadounidense. Soy estadounidense. That doesn't look like the word American. We used American for coffee. Why can't I say this? Because in the United States, we're part of a continent that then connects with another continent. And all of that is the Americas. So to say you're American, well, from where? Can you be a little bit more specific? There's not just us. There's the Canadians, the Mexicans, Bolivians, Uruguayans, Colombians, everybody. So you're going to be specific. Estado is the word state. Unidense is united. So I'm a United States person, is what you are. I'm from, soy de, name the place, Seattle, Washington, New York, wherever. And then asking the other person, where are you from? ¿De dónde es usted?
¿De dónde es usted?
From where are you? And how are you? ¿Cómo está usted?
¿Cómo está usted?
And we've already had various answers with this one. Bien, mal, estoy bien, estoy mal. Estoy bien, estoy mal. Is it possible? ¿Es posible?
Es posible.
Another great cognate. To take a photo. That's a common question if you're in a museum or a church or something. Sometimes you're not allowed to, so you want to ask those permissions. Is it possible to take a photo? Tomar una foto.
Tomar una foto.
Let's put that whole sentence together. ¿Es posible tomar una foto?
Es posible tomar una foto.
Can you please help me? Okay, and you would want to say this obviously with kindness. ¿Me ayude, por favor?
Me ayude, por favor.
Literally, me, you help, please? You help me, please? Now, if you're, this is like, can you help me find the shirt or the size that I'm looking for? Can you help me? I was looking for this, or whatever it might be. If you really need help, there's an urgent issue going on, and you're screaming, help, or if you hear somebody yelling this, you'll know what's going on. They'll say, socorro.
Socorro.
And that's, whoa, we need some desperate help going on right now. To lighten it up, you can always tell somebody, have a nice day. So in Spain, you're going to say, que tenga buen día. Que tenga buen día. It comes from a longer expression that means, I wish that you have a nice day, or I wish that you have a beautiful or good day, okay? So the short version, again, we'll say it together, que tenga buen día. And people love it when you say that. And if worse comes to worse, if you can't remember anything else, you can't remember sí, you can't remember no, you can't remember café americano, you can't even remember churros. Remember that you love Spain and tell them that. Me encanta España.
Me encanta España.
Thank you so much for being here today and joining us for Beginning Spanish for Travelers. Bravo.